Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We won't live in the past. We're making it last. Mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, friends forever.
It's time for another conversation. Welcome to Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but other people. I'm Noreen Daly, and I have with me the president and executive creative director of the brand leader, Kyle Duford. Now, Kyle, before I even introduce the topic, I haven't heard this term before. A creative director? Tell me a little bit, what does that mean?
Yeah, well, first of all, thanks, Noreen, for having me. It's a pleasure to meet you and be on your show, and I'm looking forward to today's conversation. Yeah, so I'm the head of an advertising agency here in Greenville, South Carolina, and uh, as such, we do a lot of creative work. So we have a creative director who kind of oversees all
Mm-hmm.
I guess in layman's terms, the easiest way to explain that is basically all the creative aspects, copy,
Okay.
design,
Okay.
things like that. As the
Okay.
executive creative director, which is my title as well as president,
Mm-hmm.
my responsibility is kind of connecting all the departments together through strategy as well. So I get to oversee, it's a privilege to oversee all the teams and how they work together for the benefit of the client. And yeah, so I'm not the designer, I'm not the one
Okay.
who directs, but I get a chance to tie a red thread through everything that we do for clients.
Everything. Okay. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. Good stuff. All right. So, what we're going to be unpacking this time around is, can you be a person of faith at work?
Yeah, that's a big question,
Mm-hmm.
isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. So, can you?
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is absolutely. And
Okay.
I would say no matter what your faith, you can be a person of faith at the workplace. You just have to be careful with how you show it, and noting that. And that, to be honest, I don't know many religions who are actually very um, aggressive in their approach of kind of proselytizing.
Okay.
As long as
Okay.
as long as you don't do that, I think you're fine to live an authentic life of who you are. And if religion is a part of your life, and if you're a person of faith, I think absolutely you should live that way. And if at the workplace, it should be no different. However, you just have to be careful, right?
Okay.
A lot of
I
different
notice
types.
you said it twice now. You have to be careful. Meaning what? Because I have a follow-up question, but
Sure.
before I get to that, meaning what?
Sure.
Careful how? Because are you telling me that I need to, for want of a better word, dumb down being my authentic self? What do you
No,
mean? Being
never. I
careful.
would never say
Okay.
dumb down your authentic.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I'm definitely super transparent and I'm vulnerable and I'm authentic in how I live my life, and I encourage others to be as well.
Mm-hmm.
But be careful. We typically look, especially here in the US, we typically look from a Christian worldview. And unfortunately, in these
Mm-hmm.
times, religion, politics, everything is kind of commingled, and it can be a very polarizing experience. If somebody asks me what I believe, I'm fully going to tell them. If somebody asks me why I did something or didn't do something, I'm going to tell them. But walking into a place with the,
Mm-hmm.
let's say, audacity to kind of assume that other people want to hear what I'm about, that's where I think most people get it wrong. And in my faith, at being a Christian, I don't believe
Mm-hmm.
Jesus ever walked into a place and said, okay, everyone, listen, hold on. Let me tell you who I am and why you need to pay attention. It just didn't happen. People witnessed what he did, asked
Mm-hmm.
questions, wanted to be close to him, and then he spoke to them in stories and parables and lived a life that was worth living. That's what I believe we should be doing. Now, we have a lot of different faiths represented at our different businesses, from
Right.
atheist, agnostic, all the way to Judaism, Christianity, and others. And I look at those employees and their faiths with equal regard to my own. Now, it doesn't believe that I subscribe to that, system, but that
Mm-hmm.
doesn't matter, right? Because it's not about me in that situation. I want everyone to have an open and honest environment where they can be their authentic self, but also not to the point of belittling or hurting other people in what they believe or don't believe. So that's kind of what I mean by being careful.
Okay.
You don't want to be this audacious person that assumes that every other person needs to live like you. Obviously, in my faith, I feel like quote unquote I'm right. Otherwise, I wouldn't be following my faith.
Right.
But
Right.
I'm you know, it's called faith for a reason, because you can't see it. You have to put your trust into it.
Mm-hmm.
Other people would as well. That can be dangerous. So a little bit of a
Okay.
verbose answer there, but
Okay. Somewhat answer what I was about to ask, because my follow-up question was is okay, how then do I show this at the workplace,
yeah.
regardless of the industry, regardless of the circumstances? How do I then do this?
Yeah, great question, right? My some of my family members, extended family members, are Muslim,
Okay.
I believe in Islam, and so the fact that there's you know, kind of devout followers pray three times, sorry, excuse me, five times a day,
Mm-hmm.
um, you know, giving them space to perform their act of worship is very important,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Um, but there's a difference between providing some of the opportunity to express their religious freedoms
Mm-hmm.
is telling them that they are dumb for believing that, or shouldn't believe that, or their religion is lesser than others, or believing in any.
Mm-hmm.
But there's a fine line there, right? For me particularly, I mentioned this when I talked about Jesus. For me, it's like I'd much rather have people look at me and say, "Why did you do that? Why did you treat this person that way? Or why did you offer
Ah.
grace here?" And if there's a conversation to be had, wonderful. If there's not, if it's not appropriate, great. You know, I first and foremost, I am a Christian. However, when I'm at the workplace, first and foremost, I need to be, I'm the employer, so I need to be present and need to understand that not everyone wants to subscribe to that. So there's a balance between, I'm not sure if I'm answering your question, but there's a balance
Mm-hmm.
between knowing who you are, being confident
Mm-hmm.
who you are, and kind of living your faith without professing it, if that makes sense.
Okay. Okay.
Also allowing people to be who they are. And, you know, it doesn't matter if you believe in someone's faith or not. Everyone has something to offer. Everyone has something you can
True.
learn from. And I found wonderful people at our company and others that I just had the fortune to be around and to listen to and see things from a different perspective. Didn't really poke holes in my faith, but
Mm-hmm.
understood that, oh, that's why they're this way, or that's why they believe this, or
Mm-hmm.
that's why they do X, Y, and Z during the week. Or it's so important to embrace other people. And we've kind of, I don't even want to say just in the US, you know, maybe down where you are, it's similar, but
Mm-hmm.
definitely the world over, we've gotten to a place where it's everyone can say it's me versus somebody. Everyone can say
Yes.
us versus them in whatever part of your life. And we need to get back to the fact that we are just one species and we're
Yeah.
all trying to figure life out. And you know, and that's kind of super important.
Yeah. I actually said in my class yesterday, because in my other life, I'm educated that at the end of the day, regardless of the culture, everybody wants to be seen, listened, and heard.
Oh, I like that.
So that's really what it boils down to, regardless of what you're really just trying to navigate life, that way. You
And you
you said it, but I'm sorry, go ahead.
just said we all are. We're all trying to figure it out.
Yeah, we're trying to figure it out. This is right. You said it, but I really want us to unpack it a little bit more, because I think more often than not, some of us who believe a particular way, we if we're not careful, we have this sort of, I'm my God is the true God, or my religion is the true religion. So anybody who believes anything that's not what I believe, you're stupid, and there's this disconnect. What do you think can be done to help to foster a spirit of tolerance, and for people just literally strike that balance and recognize that I might not believe what you believe, but at the end of the day, we're more alike than we are different.
I mean, that's the $1 million question, isn't it, Noreen? It's
Mm-hmm.
how can you're really asking how can we all coexist together while we believe different?
Basically.
And you know, it's I I have to, as my North Star, I have to look at Jesus and say, what did he do? And not in the kind of the hokey, what would Jesus do kind of, you know, wear the
Mm-hmm.
wristband, but in all
Right.
seriousness, and I would challenge other people of other faiths to look at, you know, their leaders as well and see how they treat people. And you'd be really hard pressed to find a religious sect or belief system or religion itself that has somebody professing hate. It's very, very, very,
Mm-hmm.
it's almost non-existent. There might be very small, you know, we tend to lump, you know, the terrorists involved with, whether it's Hamas or whether it's, in the Middle East or whatever, with the larger religion. And I think that's so wrong. It's a very dangerous position to take because there's always bad apples, and obviously they can be very bad apples in that situation. But if you look at the religions themselves, most all religions profess love on some level, on some type, in some way to coexist. And that's so important. And so if we really look at who we follow, who are you following? And when I look at Jesus, I look at how he treated people and how he welcomed people and how the people who tortured him, he loved. The centurion who was killing him, he said, he loved. The thief on one side of the cross, he said, I promise you today, you'll be with me in heaven. I mean, these are people who hated him. Yeah. And so why shouldn't we do that for others? Why shouldn't we care for others the way the religious leaders that we follow care for us? And so that's kind of, again, that could sound a little bit too kumbaya for some people. And it's sometimes when someone's being an asshole and you're trying to there should be some justice here. Yes. At the end of the day, I'd still rather be kind than mean. I'd still want to go home to my family and my wife and know that I spent a day loving people and probably screwing it up, but trying to love people kindly than the opposite. And I screw up all the time, and I let the anger get the best of me. I let situational awareness dissipate, and I lose myself in my own emotions. But in general, I try to treat people kindly. And if you can, there's room for everyone. And so no matter who you are at the workplace or not, coming in with your religious beliefs shouldn't preclude you from being part of the larger organization. And the larger organization shouldn't kind of, segregate you because of what you believe either. Yeah. Hey, I'm Kyle Duford from the Brand Leader, and I'm talking to Noreen on Making It Last podcast, and I'm super excited to talk about faith at the workplace. So please join us after a word from our partners.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives.
Hi everyone, Delmas Brown here, National Debating Champion 2017, also graduate of Northern Caribbean University, Governor General Awardee for Excellence 2018, and also international researcher, international debater, among other things. Now, the reason behind this video is to introduce you to the world's best communications coach who has made all of these kinds of accomplishments possible. Now, for 4 years, I had the opportunity or privilege rather to be coached by Noreen Daly, a communications speech specialist who has done a very phenomenal job at ensuring that I no longer use unnecessary filler vocabulary, and who has also taught me the essence of communicating.
You can't live your best life without a healthy immune system. Boost your immune system the delicious way with Zappy's organic juices and punches. Made from local produce with zero added sugar, our juices cleanse and revitalize your body as they boost your natural immunity. Try our delicious flavors: Beat It, Berry Bomb, Get Fresh, Ton Up, and Island Splash. Find us on Instagram at Zappy's Organics, or call or send a WhatsApp message at 1-876-779-8910 to order today. That's 1-876-779-8910. Zappy's Organic Juices and Punches. Live your best life today.
Langdo Language Institute was created to meet your language and communication needs. All of our packages were created just for you. We are passionate about language and dedicated to your success. We offer the CSEC English program, the Study Buddy program, the Get Ahead with English program, and the Business Communication program. Contact us at 767-285-0938 or email us at langdolanguage@gmail.com. Because the real question is, how can we help you?
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives.
Welcome back to the Making It Last podcast with Noreen Daly. I'm Kyle Duford from the Brand Leader. We're going to continue our conversation about faith in the workplace.
It's interesting that you literally went in the direction that I wanted you to, without me asking you the question. Because at the end of the day, you said something earlier that you literally just encapsulated it with it in the whole idea of love. Because you said if you're living it rather than professing it. Because my question to you was going to be if you think that if sometimes we would really make an effort to love people more and treat people with love, if it really would just make a huge difference, not just at the workplace, but in the other areas of our life. And you literally just went in that direction in terms of the whole idea that I really think that we can be kinder and gentler with each other, because at the end of the day, everybody has something that's going on. We just don't know what it is, and sometimes some of us don't need to know what it is. But it really boils down to love. But so as we're wrapping up, though, Kyle, if there's nothing those who will listen, who will watch this, got from all of what you said, what's the one idea you'd want to say, hey, of all that I've said, this is what I want to leave with you and want to resonate with you? What's that idea?
You're asking some pretty big questions, Noreen.
Okay.
First of all, I mean, who am I for people to listen to? But if someone actually got something out of our conversation,
Okay.
it's really important for me that everybody knows, no matter who you are, that you have value. You have value. And there's so many people who feel that they have imposter syndrome, or they're not worthy enough, or they don't belong for whatever reason. It could be their religion, it could be their sexuality, it could be their race, it could be how they got brought up, it could be their age. A lot of people feel sometimes they don't belong, or they don't have something to give others. And let's just say the creator, whatever the creator for you, whether that's Mother Nature or a higher power, made us all with such great gifts and value for other people that you just don't know who you're going to affect. And so if you're listening to this and you're wondering like, hey, who the hell am I? Well, you're somebody who was made particularly to be who you are. And don't try to succumb to other, inauthentic versions of who you think people want you to be, but be who you are, embrace who you are, bumps and bruises and all. I mean, that's what makes life worth living. And that, if we're more honest with who we are as people, we can start embracing others for their kind of bumps and bruises as well. And then we start realizing that we're really just a homogeneous population trying to figure shit out as we roll around this earth. I will tell you something real quick. I know we're out of time, but I think this just popped in my head. I love my wife dearly. She's my best friend. She's my partner. Like, she's the love of my life. And she does little idiosyncratic behaviors, which only she does, right? And it leaves the microwave door open all the time, or the light on in the closet. Just little silly things that don't affect anything at all, but are very particular to her. And I was reminded of this scene in Good Will Hunting, the movie with Robin Williams and Matt Damon. He and I saw it in like 1997, like almost 30 years ago together. And I remember this one scene where Robin Williams was talking about his wife, who is now passed. And he just said, he goes, she used to fart in her sleep. And I didn't have the courage to tell her that. And one time she farted so loud, she woke up the dog. And I told her, it was something like this, right? I'm probably screwing it up somehow. But he looks at Matt Damon's character and he says, but those little things are what made my wife my wife. And those are the things I love. And so I tell we have got 6 kids, and I tell the kids, they're like, what do you love about mom? And I'm like, I love all these little things. And like the annoying things, I'm like, no, the little things that make her your mom, the little things that make her my wife. And we all have those things. And we just need to learn to embrace them, that they make us who we are. They make us, I believe, created in the Lord's image. And that's what we need to embrace. And so when you realize that in yourself, you can start realize that in others and start loving them for it rather than shunning them for it. So that's what I'd say in a very long way.
No, that's fine. But as an excellent note to end on, love people as they are, not who we think we want them to be. Thank you so much for sharing, Kyle. This was Making It Last podcast, where it's all about helping us to have better relationships, not just with ourselves, but with other people. I'm Noreen Daly. Until next time.
Making it last is all I care to do. You loving me, I loving you. Mothers and fathers, husbands and wives, sisters and brothers, friends for life. We